We're Linda
and Deanna.
We're neighbors and bitches just like you. We're badasses in bathrobes.
We lift each other up every day to get through life.
With resting bitch face.
And a good dose of fun and craziness.
In bathrobes. We started this podcast because we want to live, not just exist.
As our HOA suggests.
This is a real as shit, messy, not perfect lifestyle podcast.
Perfection is overrated anyway. We're here to say you are not alone.
And you can be friends with your neighbors too.
Or not.
We don't care. We're here either way. You know what they say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
And don't throw a party and not invite me.
Let the bitch sesh begin. This is Bathrobe Bitches episode 4. Home bathrobes versus hospital bathrobes. In this episode, we rant about the COVID vaccine, hospital trauma, Western medicine versus homeopathy, planning in order to avoid freaking out than freaking out anyway, and boundaries. How do you feel about the COVID vaccine?
I am on the fence, really. Matt's like, the day I can get it, I'm going to go down there and I'm going to get it. Yeah, just like he says that about his flu shot every year, and he has yet to get his. So
I've never had a flu shot.
Well, my mother, being the infectious disease control nurse, just calls us and lets us know when it's available to go get so we can go get it, and then requires it before we really visit her house. It's like one of those things. But sometimes we get it, and sometimes she's just mad at us because we forget to get it. And this year is one of those well, it's not really forget to get it. It's like, I'm afraid to go down to the place, go to the doctor's office or go to the pharmacy to get my flu shot, because both of those places, people with COVID hang out. I just don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I don't want to risk the exposure in order to get this flu shot, because I am literally in my house all the time. I actually took a drive yesterday to drop off my daughter's library books at the school, and I dropped by my office to take some pictures so I could have some virtual backgrounds for my office at home that makes it look like I'm at the office in the office. And that was the first time I've been out of the house in like 2 weeks, except for when we come over here to hang out and do podcasts or eat dinner or, get drunk or... we went to that escape room. I think that was last Saturday, right?
Yeah.
So it's been like a full 6 days.
And that was a private escape room, and we didn't see anybody there except the one guy who was running the escape room.
Who stood 6 feet from us pretty much the whole time and wore a mask the entire time. I don't go to the grocery store anymore. I don't go anywhere. So what's the point of me going and getting the flu shot and exposing myself to all these people that may or may not have COVID? I just think that part of it's dumb. Now, for the COVID vaccine, Matt's suggesting that we go get it the very day that it's available. Part of me is a little scared to get it because of the thyroid thing. There have been side effects, and I haven't really looked into the side effects of them all that much. But some of the horror stories I've heard, if I look at it too much, I'll just start going down that Stephen King rabbit hole I have. And the next thing I know, I'm going to be turning into a monster from the inside out. And then I'm going to eat my family alive. I mean, that's how bad it gets with me. My imagination just goes completely deep dives into the worst case scenario all the time, especially when it comes to medical stuff.
Oh yeah. See, I'm the opposite. I just ignore stuff and I don't think about it at all. Like, it's not even happening. I'm just totally happy just being oblivious to everything. I'm just living in my own little world with my own little set of stuff going on, which I know isn't always the best thing to be doing, but it makes me happy and doesn't stress me out.
I would be like that, except I have this husband of mine that is completely obsessed with everything, and medical treatment is one of those things. Like... I can't even explain how many times I tell him I cannot listen to this because I'm going to start panicking about it in a few minutes. I mean, it's especially with medical stuff, like going to the hospital freaks me out. I mean, I'm afraid. When I was in 3rd grade, I went in to get, or 1st grade maybe, I don't remember, 1st or 3rd, can't remember. I went to go get my tonsils out, and my mom had to leave the hospital and leave me there by myself. It was the first time I ever stayed anywhere without my mom. Like, I had never gone over to a friend's house and had a sleepover before.
Mm-hmm.
And I was left in the hospital. And I was scared.
So you had a traumatic experience.
And then...
Like my journals. But
yes.
I mean, way more traumatic, probably.
Well, there was that when I was little. And then when Berkeley was 2, she had double pneumonia.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to give her these shots of antibiotics in her legs, and both legs at the same time. And I had to hold her down while they, basically punctured her legs, with these really big needles. And while needles don't bother me, watching your child get stabbed with them and crying really bad, I mean, it was worse than any vaccination I've ever seen. It was really scary. And then when she was in 1st grade, she had appendicitis. And the doctor, she was complaining about flu, but we took her to the doctor, and the doctor's like, yeah, it's some sort of virus or something, or bacteria in her stomach. It's not a flu per se, because she's not running a fever. She's not doing this. She's not doing that. It's fine. A couple of days later, she had the same symptoms again. And I just noticed she had thrown up, and she had had a pizza, but she didn't throw up the pizza. And I was explaining that to the doctor, how I thought that was really weird, because when kids get sick from like a stomach thing, they throw up everything in their stomach, and the pizza should have still been in her stomach.
Yeah.
And the doctor agreed with me and told me to get her down to Cedars-Sinai. And we get down there, and the number 1 pediatric surgeon in the country was operating on a 3-month-old with appendicitis. And we get there, and he consults on our case and tells me that the appendix probably burst in those 2 days between my doctor appointment and being at that emergency room, and told me she had a 10% chance of living.
It's scary.
And I was in the hospital by myself again. I mean, I was there with her, but the 2 of us were the only 2 people. Like, I didn't have anybody to like freak out with.
Mm-hmm.
And so between the 2 of those things, I'm not good with hospitals. And the COVID thing really freaks me out, because if I were to get it and get really bad, I'd go in and I have to be by myself.
Yeah.
So it's sense. Like, it's kind of like freaking me out. So it's like,
it's triggering.
Yes, that would be true. And I take the whole vaccine thing, and my brother's like, vaccines, the same percentage of survival rate as the actual virus. So why do you going to take it? It just doesn't make sense. And it's like, well, so I'm sitting here weighing my options, because the thyroid thing and the hospital thing, and it's just like, I don't know yet. I'm still kind of undecided. That's a real big story just to say I'm undecided, but there it is, people. I'm like undecided.
It. Yeah, I'm not sure about it either, and I haven't really done a lot of research on it, because learning is my 34th strength. So usually... And I don't like to fact find stuff. So if I need to know stuff, usually I tell James what I want to know, and he'll go research it, and he'll bring me back the pieces that he knows that I want to know. And that's how I get my information.
Maybe you should talk to Matt too, because he's really good at that kind of stuff.
I'm not talking to Matt about it. No thanks. He'll just keep talking. At least James, I can tell him to shut up. I've heard enough. I wouldn't want to be rude to Matt.
Why not? It's fun.
But I mean, I don't like to take medicine. I don't give my family medicine, like, unless it's absolutely necessary.
Right.
Not even Tylenol. Like, I won't take Tylenol. I won't take ibuprofen. I won't take anything. I won't give Lucas anything unless I think he really needs it. Not, if it's something that he needs, he absolutely can take it. But our bodies are designed to fight things off. That's why we have the symptoms that we have. But obviously, if he can't breathe through his nose because he has a cold, we'll find something that can help him breathe through his nose to make him more comfortable.
Right.
Just so we're clear, I'm not an asshole. But that's our last resort. Right? Like, I will try to steam his face first to see if we can open it up that way. We'll take a brisk walk out in the cold to see if we can clear our sinuses up that way. I don't feel the need to, and it's because I won't pump my body full of that stuff. I don't want to pump his body full of that stuff, because when I was a child, I didn't have a choice, and people pumped me full of all kinds of things, and it caused a lot of the problems that I have today. Or, my grandmother, her doctors just gave her antibiotics all the time for everything. So she broke her ankle, ended up in the hospital with a broken ankle and pneumonia. They sent her home. She had to go back, and she ended up with a bowel infection and went sepsis and died because she broke her ankle, and she'd taken so many antibiotics in her life that they didn't work anymore.
Oh, that sucks.
Right? And my grandmother died. She was 62 years old, and her doctors had her hooked on diazepam, which she had been trying to like wean herself off of for years. And I remember her always having like cough medicine with codeine in it. And if somebody had warned her against these things, she would have lived well past 62 years old.
Right.
So that shit just frustrates me. You know, everybody just wants to throw drugs at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what really ended me up at Progressive too, because the doctor was like, here, take this, here, take that. I'm like, no, I don't want to take that stuff. I want to find out what's wrong with me. I don't want to just cover what's happening.
Why do I just throw up every day? There has to be a reason for it.
Yeah, like, is it something I'm doing wrong? And then it's like I ended up at the allergist, but the allergist only treated me for half of what I was allergic to, so it really didn't make any sense. So ending up at Progressive is probably the best thing for me, because not only is it helping me like do things naturally, but I'm so much better now. And by not taking all that over the counter stuff. And I've always been, so my dad told me like a long time ago, he got in a motorcycle accident, and his brake handle actually went behind his kneecap.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So he had a hole the size of a brake handle in his leg right underneath his kneecap. But so he was in a lot of pain for a lot of time, and the doctor had given him some pain medication, and he refused to take it. And I kept asking him why he refused to take it, and he told me, he goes, look, my brain will forget my knee hurts after a while, because it's going to know that it can't do anything about my knee hurting, so my brain will just forget it. I mean, it'll hurt for a while, yeah, sure, and it'll and I'll stay awake for a couple more days than I should probably, but it'll forget it. He goes, but if I'm taking the pain medication and say I hurt my toe, my brain isn't going to know that my toe hurts, because it's been fogged to not recognize pain from the drugs. And so it kind of always stuck with me. Like, if I take medication to mask pain, I'm masking pain for my entire body, not just for the one hurt that I have.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, when they take medication like that, they just think, oh, it's just going to stop this part of me from hurting. It's not going to stop. Like, I'm going to know when other things happen to me. And that's not the case.
Yeah. Kind of the same thing. Like, I think a lot about like anxiety, not that mental illness or anxieties is anything to take lightly.
Right. No.
But a lot of people who have anxieties, or I'm going to air quotes mental illness, that they're taking these medications for, are doing the exact same things. They're not looking at or dealing with what is the root of the problem of your anxiety.
Right.
And managing that. Like, what is it that you actually need that you're not getting that's causing these problems?
Right. Yeah.
And they're just, they say it's a chemical imbalance or something like that, and they just throw drugs at it. And not everybody needs that. Not to say that some people don't need that to help them, but not everybody does.
And some chemical imbalances can be adjusted via food.
Yes, because
and vitamins and natural
food
things.
Is medicine.
Yeah, and it's like I've noticed, like, since just even drinking the amount of water that we drink every day has changed my life completely. Like, I don't feel so bad. And when I get up and do Ring Fit for 20 minutes in the morning, I feel better all day. Like, it's just like, and it's just exercise. It's not like I'm sitting there breaking a sweat every day. It's like, it's really minimal, but because I get my body moving first thing in the morning, and it's like I roll out of bed and put in the video game and play for a little bit, my brain wakes up, my body wakes up, and it's different now.
And exercising releases endorphins and serotonins and dopamines or whatever shit goes on in your brain, and then helps you feel elated and in a better mood for the rest of the day.
Exactly. Helps my chemical imbalances.
Yes.
So it's like those things that
without fucking drugs or whatever they give people, Paxil, Zoloft, other anxiety shit.
Right. Exactly. So that just makes me feel better. I don't know. You can't fault anybody for taking what they were told to take or what they know because they don't know any better, right? So
yeah, but Western doctors don't look at people as a whole being. They don't look at you as a natural homeopathic organism.
Right.
You know, our bodies weren't created to be pumped full of those things. Whoever created us, God, the universe, Buddha, angels, spirits, ancient beings, however we got here.
Science, don't forget science.
Science. You know, however we got here, we weren't put here with that stuff.
Right.
And over time, we've become our own worst enemy to our own physical beings. So all of that to say, I don't know how I feel about the COVID vaccine.
Your explanation was way longer than mine.
On a tangent. I probably won't take it because I don't take other drugs. I don't get the flu shot. And in general, I'm a little leery about vaccines because I don't know what's in them. And when Lucas was a baby, he wasn't vaccinated. I've given him the choice now because he's older and he can make his own choice. And he doesn't really want to be shot with needles. But I did have the doctor talk to him about it, about what vaccines are, what they do. And I've given him his own choice to get them. Not to say like you can't have them because that's what I believe. But when he was a baby, I didn't understand about them, nor do I still really understand about them. And not 100% sure that they're necessary, but also not sure that jamming random shit into infants is necessary. And everybody can make their own choice. I'm pretty sure Nikki's vaccinated, right?
Oh God, if I didn't get my vaccinations, I would hear, oh, holy hell.
You know, and like Lucas had the chicken pox when he was in pre-K.
Wow, chicken pox.
And that was really interesting because I called the doctor and I said, I'm pretty sure he has chicken pox. And she's like, no, he doesn't. It's like, yes, I was like, I've had chicken pox 4 times.
Ouch.
I know, it's kind of crazy. I got it. My brother got it. I got it. My sister got it. I got it. And then I got it again.
Oh, wow.
And I've also had the chickenpox vaccine when I was a kid.
Wow.
That was like after.
We didn't have chickenpox vaccine when I was a kid.
Yeah, that was like.
We had chickenpox parties.
So Lucas got the chickenpox and I brought him to the doctor and she's like, I've never seen the chickenpox before. Which, I mean, makes sense because everybody's vaccinated. And, you know, also part of me doesn't know how to feel about that either. Because, like, if he got something like the measles and died, I would feel like a really fucking terrible person. You know?
Yeah.
But what are really the chances of that? And...
Well, right now, measles is on the rise again. I don't know if you know that.
I do know that, actually.
Yeah. Along with the bubonic plague. But, you know, I'm not... See, this is where
the dumpster fire of 2020 continues.
Just like Stephen King, you know, Cliff.
I know, like that meme I sent you the other day. It said, like, I've reached the end of my 7-day trial subscription. I don't want to stay subscribed.
Yeah, but didn't I tell you? You can't just, and it's not that
I
easy to
know.
cancel those subscriptions. You know, the cancellation fee is way higher than just hanging in there and dealing with having the subscription.
Mm-hmm.
So good luck with that.
Yeah. So we probably won't be getting the COVID vaccine.
Yeah.
But I don't know yet. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I'm still undecided. I'm undecided about vaccines in general. And even today, so, one of my clients deals with recovering from autism naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And she gave this webinar today where she was talking about how in vaccines they use chicken embryos. And the chicken embryos in the vaccines, when they're given to people, especially children with autism, can cause sensitivities to eggs and chickens. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And you know what? She's a really fucking smart lady.
Yeah, well, I know that they warn you about all sorts of egg allergies and everything else, which now that I know that I'm sensitive to eggs, I'm going to have to reapproach my whole, flu shot thing, because I know for flu shots for sure they use something that has to do with chickens in it.
Do they use chicken embryos?
I don't know.
Ooh, interesting.
But they do ask if you're allergic to eggs on the pamphlet that they give you when you're sitting in the waiting room waiting for your flu shot. So I never had a reason to
question it or say yes.
Because I never was tested for it because I didn't think that I was. But I don't know if it's something that's new after what happened, with my whole body just changed, I guess. And because I wasn't really sick really until after I was pregnant with Nikki. That's when I started to get really sick. But of course I was pregnant and had to have one of my teeth removed, and I was put on some really strong antibiotics at the time. So it's just like when I almost didn't take them, but the risk of infection from a tooth thing was way higher, and it could have the antibiotics posed a risk to the baby too, but I kind of waited out with Matt and with his mother-in-law and everything about whether or not I should take these before I actually took them. I didn't just blindly take them.
Yeah.
But the way everything happened with my mouth, it was really bad, and I really needed to take them to make sure that nothing happened. So then I started getting sick after being pregnant. I thought it was just, my body's changed. And
weird pregnancy shit.
Yeah, I just thought it was weird pregnancy shit, but it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, you know what I actually learned today, and it's funny that you said that is kind of a thing. So, and again, not the expert on any of this shit.
Oh, no,
but
never.
This is what my client said, and I am, what's the not word for word? Not verbatim?
It is paraphrasing.
Yes, paraphrasing. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Paraphrasing what she was saying is that being pregnant, and usually your first pregnancy, so this mostly was related to autism and things you pass on to your children.
Yes.
But when you're pregnant and you have a child, your body detoxifies into your pregnancy. And that's how we pass on these things to our children, because our bodies are like, oh, like, let's put this stuff in here, and then we pop it out. And the first pregnancy usually gets the worst of it. I don't really understand the science behind all of this, or 100%.
That makes me like super sad now, and I want to cry.
No, don't cry. It just is what it is. Bodies do weird shit.
But
so I was like, wow, that's really interesting that, like, our bodies are, as women, like, we're designed to fucking grow humans and spit them out.
Well, I know that whatever you eat when you're breastfeeding goes into the breast milk, and that goes into your baby. I know that. That still scares me every time I think about it.
But, like, I thought it was so, like, sort of interesting and also, like, scary that, like, our bodies would, like, take stuff like heavy metals and things that aren't supposed to be in there and, like, detoxify it into our fetuses.
I don't know about that. That just doesn't sound right to me. But what do I know? I don't know anything.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just telling you what she said. I'm not saying this is a true fact. We could Google it, or I could ask my high fact finder husband to look it up for me, because he probably would find that interesting, because he finds women's bodies really interesting.
You know who would really get a kick out of looking this up?
Matt.
Yep. It's a medical thing.
Yeah.
He'd be all into it.
So you know what we'll do? I'll mention it to James, and you mention it to Matt, and then when we get back together, we'll discuss
notes
about what they found out.
Good idea.
Yeah. Ooh, speaking about babies.
Ooh, babies.
So I was in the car with James the other week because we went out to dinner
for
a friend's birthday. And we were driving down the road, and there's this van in front of us that had a baby on board sign.
Oh, no. Okay, go ahead.
I know. And I think baby on board signs are so fucking stupid.
Why?
Because I do not want to alert to the world that there is either a baby in the car or somebody knows that I'm going to be near a baby to fucking follow me home and steal my baby.
Okay, so I'll give you that. That's a good, legitimate fear. However, do you know why those baby on board signs started?
I don't, but I would love it if you would tell me.
Okay, so those baby on board signs started in the mid-'80s, and they started because firemen and ambulances and whatever were and accidents were cleaning out cars and taking the adults and taking them to the hospital and leaving babies in the car because they did not know the babies were in the car. They didn't see a car seat. They didn't look for a car seat. So if the car seat ejected out of the car, they weren't looking for a baby because they didn't know a baby existed in the accident.
Yeah,
so
that
the
makes
babies
sense.
would die on the side of the road, and there were 3 really big accidents, and I don't remember when. I just remember hearing about it afterwards and crying my eyes out because these poor little babies were left in a burning car. And they could have been saved because the car wasn't burning when they were getting the adults out, but they got the adults out and left the baby there because they didn't know it was there. So one of these people that had either been in one of these accidents or had seen this accident got the idea of putting little placards in the windows that you could, it was a square caution, a diamond-shaped caution sign that said baby on board with a little, what do you call those things? The little plastic.
Little suction cups.
Suction cups.
Yeah.
And they could stick it on the car when the baby was in the car and then take it off when the baby wasn't in the car. So it was just a thing to, you would drive around with this if you had a baby in a car seat so that if you were in an accident, that the firemen were alerted that there was a baby to look for. And they started looking for babies first. That's why those signs are there.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. But also, then that's really bad design because, if there's a suction cup or they're in an accident, that's very easy to fall out. I think in the olden days, and I say olden days, I mean the 80s, which is they were more like bumper stickers that would go right on the window. I kind of remember those being a thing.
No, when they first came out, they were suction cups.
They were still suction cups.
Mm-hmm.
And then why don't they put them on? So, I mean, for me, it's a safety thing, which was always when Lucas was a baby, I would never have one because I don't want other people to know that I have a baby. I see what you're saying about
but you have to understand where the car seats are now versus where the car seats were then. I mean, now there's you have to lock them into the car seat connection for the seat belts and stuff are actually welded to the frame of the car. Back then it was a seat belt that would usually malfunction and the whole flipping seat would sometimes go right through a window.
Yeah, which totally makes sense. And I understand that. But for me, it's sort of just a big beacon. For child molesters and kidnappers. Yeah, I can see that. It's follow me home so you can see where me and my baby live.
Yeah, I mean, I think all safety stuff is a double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's there for a reason, and then people will take advantage of that reason. I watched a YouTube video, Facebook thing. I don't know. It was a video. Anyway, it came across my feed and I was just watching it. It was this guy. He had his teenage daughter went to go get her first bra. And he had read somewhere that there were RFIDs in the actual bra to prevent theft from the bra store. Well, when you go take it home, they're not removed or disabled. These RFID chips are active in the bras. And hackers have figured out a way to read those RFIDs and follow the RFIDs to where the girls are wearing them. And so they can figure out where to go pick them up from.
That's really fucking scary.
Yes. And
I'm never letting my children leave the house again.
well, I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, it was one of those things that came up on a video that I saw. And, he shows the tag. It has the RFID symbol on the tag itself. He took the tag apart. He pulled out the ID out of the tag. And it's just like, okay, so I don't know how real that was or how staged it was. I don't know. It was a video, right? So, but
can't believe everything you see on the internet.
Yes. Or here on a podcast, that's for sure.
Yeah, right.
Because we don't know what we're talking about half the time. So, but it kind of makes you think, because it's a safety feature for the store for them not to have anything stolen. But then it's a avenue for kidnappers to kidnap your child. So what are you going to do about it? That's where, I don't know, double-edged sword.
Go live in the woods with no internet and no bras.
Oh, that would be wonderful, I think, unless it's cold outside. Because then I could just sit and write and pretend that nothing else but what's in my brain exists.
I know. Wouldn't it be nice to just be in a cabin in our bathrobe with no bras and a nice roaring fire? Ooh, and a cup of my delicious harvest punch that I made on New Year's.
Oh my God, that stuff was so good. Oh, that was fabulous.
That's going to be my new party punch.
Yeah.
Every
Just
time.
remember to double the vodka.
Double the vodka, yep.
Yeah, it makes it taste so much better and gets you a little drunker too.
I know. I still have that other bottle of champagne in the fridge, so I keep thinking like, ooh, when's going to be a good time for me to whip the punch up?
I say next Thursday.
What's next Thursday?
Berkeley's birthday.
We'll see. Well, I don't like drinking very often, and definitely probably not on Thursdays.
I'm going to be sad that day.
You're going to be sad?
Yeah.
I'll cheer you up.
I want to fly out to go see her, but if I do that, it's a mandatory 2-week quarantine before I can fly back. Can't do that.
Thanks, COVID.
Yep. Yeah. I had grand plans to go see her on her birthday this year and surprise her.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know that's rough. Because you didn't get to see her at Christmas either.
Or Thanksgiving.
Or Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And I was actually in California on Thanksgiving and we couldn't make it happen. It just makes me sad and just... Oh.
Well, you can video her.
Yeah.
Will she video you?
Yeah. We've done that. We do that once a week or so, but it's not the same, I want to give her a hug and tell her everything's going to be okay. She's going through some stuff right now, so.
Oh, poor thing.
Yeah.
I like Berkeley.
Yeah.
I only met her that one time, but we had a blast.
She can't wait for you to come over here again, mind you. She's like, I want to play Cards with Against Humanity with Matt again. I think that's so much fun. There's nothing like watching him turn beet red.
Yeah, it was fun playing the family edition with the kids on New Year's.
Yeah, but it didn't have the same effect.
No, it didn't.
So, and I think that's the reason why they didn't finish the bottle of scotch this time.
They made a really good dent in it.
I know, but Matt wasn't falling over in the bushes. He was actually complaining about it. It's like, I wasn't drunk enough. I didn't fall in the bushes.
I wasn't drunk enough.
I'm like, well, you should have drank more. He's like, well, James was kind of pacing me this time. And I'm like, oh, like keeping him at a slower pace, I guess.
James is not in charge of the poor.
I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking. But I don't know. I love watching them drink together. I think it's hilarious.
I know. Like one day our secret plan will work and they'll be best friends.
Yeah, well, we're still trying to get that trip together. And I think once we get that trip together, I think that'll kind of seal it.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, but as soon as we do that, I think it'll be fine because he is actually starting to go with the flow. He actually said his goal is to start going with the flow with things and not be all like bent up over everything and just freak out over nothing. And
good. Maybe like, my New Year's talk sunk in a little bit.
Well, I will tell you that he was already headed down that road before New Year's. So any kind of reinforcement that you did definitely helped. He is a lot, I would say I am very happy with the way things are right now because he's very like, I got a bit of bad news the other day on the phone. Actually, a couple really bad newses right in a row from two different people in two different places, which are kind of like, disease and surgery and stuff, which is it's not good. And then he asked me where something was, and I told him where I thought it was, and it wasn't there. And he kind of got mad at me because I didn't know the answer that he wanted the minute he wanted, and I snapped back at him. And then when I just got in, threw him the key, and just like in this really, pissy manner because, I was pissed because he couldn't look for it himself. And because I was already upset over something that had nothing to do with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still trying to process what I was just told. And he knew I was just told these things, but he was still asking about this other thing. And then like he came back in like 20 minutes later and he's like, look, I'm sorry I got so mad at you being so upset. It's very obvious why you were upset. And I should have taken that into consideration when I was talking to you about the stupid key. And I'm like,
whoa.
Right? I was very excited about that. So things are beginning to look better. So
I like it.
Me too. It's making me happy.
I'm glad. And I like to talk about it with people too because it helps remind myself that these are things that I also need to work on because Matt and I are a lot alike. I don't like change. It makes me feel unsafe. Yeah. And then I sort of, like fucking lash out and start flailing and like I'm drowning and everything's gonna start crumbling down and my whole life is gonna fall apart and then I'm gonna live in a cardboard box under a bridge because one little tiny thing didn't happen as I expected.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's like. And it was funny because when you texted me the other day about the whole schedule change and how we were freaking out, and I was he's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "Oh, you don't want to know. You don't want to know." He's like, "Why?" I was just like, "Oh, Linda's entire year schedule just changed in a turn of a dime, and she had no idea because her phone was in the other room." And he's like, "Oh my God, that is exactly why I keep my phone on me every minute of every day because if anything changes, it comes to my phone, and then I'm not going to be upset about it because I'm going to know, and then." No, I will be upset about it, but I'll know like it's not because I left my phone in the other room and it's going to be delayed. I can know right away. And I'm just like, oh my God, it's going to be fine. Whatever happens, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Just deal with the repercussions as the thing starts happening. Don't freak out about the entire world crumbling to the end of death at the moment. That's how I look at it anyway. I can't. It's just.
I know.
It's frustrating.
I'm just a planner. I like to plan things. I have like my whole year planned out, my days off planned out, my vacation planned out. It's all very intentional to support me in my journey of health and well-being and taking more time off and trying to only work 6-hour days instead of 16-hour days. And I put a lot of thought and effort into it. And then it's, I forget when these things happen that like I'm strong, I can deal with change, everything's going to be okay. We're not going to live in a cardboard box.
It's so funny because you and Matt are like that and I am so like, I'm driving down the freeway. I'm just going to turn right here and go to Jamestown because I've never been there before, even though I need to be at a lunch 4 hours down the road. And I'm going to totally be late for everything and I'm going to make everybody change their plans. I don't care because I've never seen that before and I want to do it. I am so fly by the seat of my pants that I still don't know how I got to where I am today. because of it. I plan, but I change my plans constantly. Like, it's always free flowing. Like, if something comes up, I'll just move the other way. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I had a baby when I was really young, and I was
You did?
yeah, yeah, really young. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I've always had a secure feeling. I don't know, like, I don't have to worry about it because I lived in my car once. I know how that works. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I've lived on couches. I know how that works. It's not like I can't do that again if I absolutely needed to. I will figure it out. I was at this job one time, and the girl's like, well, you know, you're not any good at this. You might as well go work at McDonald's because, and I was like, yeah, okay, well, if I go and work at McDonald's, I'll be a manager within, you know, I don't know, about a month and a half, and I'll probably be making more money than you because I'm that type of person. I will take whatever I've given and then just make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't plan for it, and I don't like go out of my way to find it. And like, you know, it drives Matt absolutely crazy that I don't wake up knowing exactly what I'm going to do the whole day long. It's like, I don't know. I woke up today. Let's see, what trouble can I get myself into is pretty much the question I ask myself in the morning. I don't have my days and weeks planned out. And every time I do plan them out, none of the plans work out the way I want them to. So I gave up trying to plan.
I know. Well, this is sort of exactly what I am talking about because I've never really planned like this before. And I had to work really hard to try to set structure for myself to not, you know, because I am very willy-nilly. I'm like, oh, like, I'm not doing anything next week. Me and Lucas are going to go to Nashville for a week. And I don't even think about it. Like, I'm just going to dish out the money. I'm going to rent us a condo. When we get there, I'm going to find us some stuff to do. And I don't really have a plan. But this year, I really intentionally, like, created a plan to achieve what I wanted to achieve. Because sometimes we can grow within boundaries.
Right.
You know, and that is what was my intention for this year, for all of last year, you know,
Right.
was to really set some boundaries for myself to be able to grow within them. And then, you know, right off the bat, everything is like, you know, a shitstorm. And it's like, but that's also part of the learning experience for me is that, you know, I have to look at it and say, like, okay, how do I adjust to this? Because it isn't the end of the world.
Nope, not even close.
You know, there are other things that can, you know, be moved around or fixed or whatever. And, like, I'm the fucking CEO of my own company. I set my own schedule. I was just changing my out of office dates or, you know, whatever. James can stay home and he can pick up my stepdaughter on Friday. I'm not going to be here. I'm on vacation.
Right. So, yep. Workarounds.
Yeah.
Fix it in post.
Exactly. Post 2020.
That's why every time I sit there and I'm writing, I mean, that's the thing I have to think about. I have to, like, there's like the editor in me wants to edit as I'm writing, and the writer in me just wants to write, and it's a constant battle between the two all the time. And I have to just, as I'm writing, I have to constantly tell myself, fix it in post, fix it in post, fix it in post. It's like ongoing tape in the back of my head. Fix it in post. Don't worry about what you're writing. Just fix it later. And it takes me a long time because I'm one of those people. I like to fix things now.
Yeah.
But I also don't like to plan ahead. So it's like, yeah, that's a problem when you're writing because it's like I'm writing by the seat of my pants, but I have to plan everything. So it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I'm learning the planning part this year, I think. I don't know.
I'm also learning the planning part this year. That's kind of, you know, what I've been trying to do. And it's really interesting. But it's, for me, it was important to say to myself, here's what I want. So what I wanted for this year, I wanted to take 4 weeks off without working. which I've never done. I almost never take any weeks off. Well, I take weeks off, but I also work.
Right.
Because I can work from
anywhere.
Yep. But it's not very often. The last time I took time off when I didn't work was my honeymoon, and that was 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
Every other time I've gone away, I've worked most or all of the time. So my goal for this year was to take 4 weeks off where I did not work, that I need to trust and rely in my team that they can handle their jobs.
Right.
And I can trust that I can communicate with my clients that this is when I will be unavailable.
Right.
My team can help you. If there's a severe emergency, they know how to get in touch with me.
Right.
And if I have to handle it, I will. And then I don't want to work more than 6 hours a day.
And here you're working 16.
Well, I'm not really working 16.
Oh, okay, good.
I've been working about 9 hours a day.
Well, I will start.
But I expected that at the beginning of the year because
beginning of the year launches, right?
It's launch time.
Yeah.
I do marketing. Everybody does shit at the beginning of the year. I knew it was going to be busy.
See, and I have the opposite problem.
In the past, 9 hours is better than the 15 to 19 I would have pushed myself to work in the past. Now I have a stopping point where I say, like, I'm done. I trust I've gotten enough done for today. The rest I can do tomorrow, and I don't antagonize myself over it.
Yep, know that feeling. I've gotten to the point where when it comes to my actual job, I put that on, like, I'm very rigorous about the whole 8:30, 5:30 thing and not going over, because being in the new position I'm in, I could easily see it going past that, especially since I have people in Australia and China and Indonesia and where there's somewhere else. I don't remember, but somewhere on way far east that's like 8 hours. Oh, India, that's the other place. 8+ hours different. So it's just like I gotta work at 6 p.m. so I can get in touch with them at 6 a.m. their time the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's a big time gap. So I have to really watch myself on how much time I work and I put in, and I try really hard to stay within the whole 8:30 to 5:30 like time frame that has been set forth, so that my clients don't get the idea that I'm available 24/7. Even though I'm working from home and I can be available like that, I don't want to put the precedent out there that I'm always available all the time.
Boundaries are very important, professional and personal.
I am learning that so well right now, especially with my job, because both my direct boss and the president of the company were emailing me on Saturday night at like 10 o'clock.
Don't respond.
I didn't respond until 8:35 Monday morning. I'm
yes.
like, I'm not doing it, because the minute I respond at 10 o'clock on Saturday, they're going to know they can email me at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and I'm going to be at their beck and call, and I'm not doing that.
Yes, boundaries are so important.
If it's something that needed to be handled immediately, I would have handled it. But it was a meeting response for a meeting that I set for them that was not until they wanted to push the meeting till the following week. And they had a whole email back and forth conversation all about when they should make this meeting happen. So I just waited for them to finish their conversation and then just moved it on the calendar to the last day that they gave me. But if I'd started answering at 10 o'clock on Saturday,
then you're just setting the precedent for moving forward that you will answer emails at 10 p.m. on Saturday.
Yep. And at 10 p.m. on Saturday, I would rather be watching a movie with my husband. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like it. Even I worked from home for a long time. I know it's newer to you, but yeah. I've worked from home almost Lucas's whole life. And he knows, all the kids know, even your kid knows.
Yeah, you know my kid knows.
If I am in my office and my door is closed, you had better be dead, bleeding, or on fire to come knock on my door. or somebody else better be dead, bleeding, or on fire.
So I don't have a door to my office because it's in the
sucks.
dining. It's in the thing. But I told my daughter that Linda's rules apply if my headphones are on.
I like it. Exactly.
So I've been watching Netflix and using my headphones as how I listen to it. So they just come in, they see my headphones on, and they walk away. They don't even ask it. So
you've trained them.
No, you trained them.
I started training them.
You trained them. I just piggybacked on
it.
Yep, no problem. I should do that when I'm writing too, so they don't bother me when I'm writing, but they always tend to bother me when I'm writing more than if I'm actually working, and I don't know why. It's annoying.
Maybe you need to work out another system for that. Maybe you have a sign that you put up or something, and then you just tell everybody.
Maybe I need to make a lamp like I made.
This is my special writing time. And it is important to me that I have the ability to focus when I do this. Here is what I need from you when this thing is happening.
Where have you been all my life?
I lived somewhere else, but now I live next door to you. You have to use your voice. I know we talk about this all the time.
I can't.
And then back to boundaries.
I have a hard time using my voice. You know this.
If you don't tell the other people in your lives what you need, you can't ever get it, which is something I'm very good at.
Yeah, see, I'm horrible at that.
I am very good at.
Horrible at that.
Like when I'm working, I need to be left the fuck alone. I shut my door. If my door is open, you're welcome to come in anytime because I'm either not doing something that's important or I'm not really focusing on something or I'm doing something where I can be interrupted. But if my door is closed, I'm making the cheddar in here. Get the fuck out.
Oh, Lord.
Again, I don't want to be bothered. That's why I've shut my door. And they all know.
Yes, they do. They've repeated to me several times. I remember I came over here one time. You told me to come over here and your door was shut. And they told me that I couldn't go up here because I wasn't dead, bleeding, or on fire. And I said, she requested my presence. Here's the text message that says, just come upstairs. It's like I had to show a pass to get up here.
Yeah, like a special password.
I'm like, boy.
You had to be a horse of a different color.
Exactly. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm the adult. Let me through.
Or the same thing. Even when I started dating James, I told him, I do not want to cuddle all day, every day. I am not a very cuddly person. I'm not super affectionate. This is what I'm not. I don't need somebody to be very super affectionate to me or want to cuddle me all the time because I am not going to enjoy that. So if that is not something that you can deal with, then this isn't something that's going to work for me.
Right.
Because I'm not going to change. It's fundamentally who I am. I was not hugged enough as a child, so I really don't appreciate being touched all the time.
I'm sorry.
That is what it is.
Hugs are awesome. I'm a huggy person, though, so.
I mean, I did learn after I had Lucas, I do like to hug Lucas a lot. James,
I like hugging everybody.
There's something different about making a human and the way that you feel about them than just all the other people in the world.
I can agree with that.
That's the end of our bitching for today. Thanks for listening to today's episode of Bathrobe Bitches. In this episode, we rant about the COVID vaccine, hospital traumas, Western medicine versus homeopathy, planning in order to avoid freaking out, then freaking out anyway, babies on board signs, and boundaries.
If you want more bitching between episodes, find us at bathrobetches.com or on social media. On Facebook, we are Bathrobe Bitches, but there's no I in bitches because Instagram is less of an asshole. You can find us at Bathrobe Bitches there. See you on the next episode.
Bye for now.